what made you want to join the military?
I think I was working in the oil field, and it was at the tail end of my junior, career, if you want to call it that. And I was kind of debating if I keep trying to play hockey. I wasn't going to go to the NHL, but I probably could have played some semi-pro here or
And
there.
how old were you at this time?
I would have been 22,
Okay.
I think. So at the end of like my last year of junior. And I was just kind of deciding like if that's what I wanted to do. And I was working in the oil field in Alberta, and a guy I was working with, he'd done a stint in the military that was a few years. And he told me about this unit that I had no idea about, and it was our special operations unit called JTF2. And it was like, as soon as I heard of at first I didn't believe him. I didn't know anything about our military, and I didn't even believe we had a counterterrorism unit. And then I looked it up on the old dial-up internet, and he was telling the truth. And from like, I just remember being hooked to that idea right away. I think it was like a sense of adventure. There was the team aspect of hockey, physical challenge, mental challenge, all of these things I was assuming, but it was like, oh, this seems like it would be a really hard thing. And I was just, from that moment, I was like focused on that. And I never really considered the military before that, which is weird. Like, I'm not from a military family. I didn't even know we really had much of a military. Yeah, so it was just kind of found out about it, and then I started watching all the cool like special forces movies, Black Hawk Down and stuff, and I was like hooked. I was like, this is what I want to do.
What is JTF2? If you were to compare it to a unit in the United States, what
like your SEAL Team 6 guys, or your Delta Force guys, we worked with them a lot, kind of all over the place. Sort of like that, or 22 SAS in the UK.
Okay. And what's the training like for that? So you went to the military at around 22.
Yeah.
You like, is it like the Army? What's it called when you?
So
when
I
you first
started
joined?
in the Army, and you have to do 2 years in like a regular force service before you can try out for the special operations. That's how it worked at the time, anyway. I don't know if that's changed, but so I joined the Army first. Went to a light infantry battalion, did all the soldier training and whatever, and then after doing that for 2 years, you're allowed to apply to do selection for the special operations group. And it's from the battalion you're in. You have to pass like a physical test and psychological evaluation and have the support from your chain of command. Then you go on this selection, and it's just at the time, again, I don't know if it's changed, but it was a 7-day selection, and it's just very intense in every way that you can imagine, to see if you can, cut it, I guess, for the job, if you can hack it. And I went and did selection, and I somehow passed it.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I went to the unit, and once you're done selection, if you get picked up to go on course, they call it the Special Operations Assaulter course. And that's where you learn all your, shooting, fighting, whatever, infill, driving, jumping, everything that's special operations.
Nice. How long is that training for?
That course is, I think it's changed over the years on and off. It's, from what I remember, between 9 and 10 or 11 months.
And what's that training like?
It kind of covers everything. Like, the idea of it is, once you're selected for, assumed ability to be able to take on these skills, you go and like start at the basics of shooting with, pistol and everything up to machine guns, like the range of weapons. And you just start very basic and just get faster. It's a very fast paced course, but everything starts at the basics. So you start that, and then you start going into like CQB, which is like the close quarters battle stuff, kill house things. Big part of the mandate for the unit is hostage rescue. So there's a lot of like training in CQB. And again, you start at basic level, and it just gets crazier and crazier and faster. And then they add insertion methods, sort of, or infill ways. So, like your skydiving and your hey-ho and halo jumping, tactical driving training, rappelling and fast roping, and all of that stuff. Anything to do with getting you to a target or off a target. And then there's a big focus on what we call like green phase. So you're in the forest, you're doing things like reconnaissance and doing hits or DAs from the forest back to the forest. So you spend a bunch of time in the woods and carrying heavy weight and doing all of that stuff with drills to break contact or to do attacks and stuff like that. So they just, every soldier skill you can think of is like covered in that, 10 months or whatever it is.
And then when did you decide to become a sniper within that unit?
So when I did my 2 years in the Army, I had actually done the Reg Force sniper course at the time. Because when I got to battalion, I was learning all this stuff, and I saw like it was across the hall in our line. So I was like, oh, those guys look so cool. Like carrying their sniper guns and shit. So I was like, that seems like something I'd want to do. And I love the outdoors from growing up that way. So I'd already done my sniper course. And then when I got to JTF2, they had their own sniper troop there. So I was kind of already, knew somewhat what to expect. And I wanted to do the same thing when I got there. And from looking at it, it had like the hardest motherfuckers were there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all the guys that were giving her and really wanted to do the job. And we're pushing the limits and stuff, whether it's long range or jumping or, the airborne operations stuff. And it just seemed like the hardest collection of people. So I was like, that's where I want to go and work.
That's awesome. So you go through the training course, 9 or 10 months, you become a sniper within that unit.
No, so that's after. So the 10 months is for you to be they call special operations assaulter. So you are in an assault squadron doing hits, a lot of this, the CQB stuff we talked about, hostage rescue stuff. I went and I did our sniper course probably another 2 years after I was in the unit. And then you get put on a different course. And I think at the time it was 4 months long or something to do the sniper training. And again, it starts at the basic grouping, zeroing, how to maintain your rifle, how to just shoot at 100 meters and then out to whatever,